Hi everybody, this is Star from Star Studio Inc. Today I'm going to show you how I do my napkin cards. There are several different techniques that I have seen people use, but the technique that I'm going to use today in order to adhere the napkin to the cardstock is a product called Scotch Super 77. I've tried the saran wrap and the freezer paper and using the iron to try to iron it on, but it just doesn't work for me. So like I said, I mean this stuff is perfect. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take this cardstock. It's an off-white cardstock. It's cut in half. It's the 8.5 by 11, so it's actually 4 1/4 by um, I just drew a blank. It's a 4 1/4 by 5.5, and then folded in half. Excuse me. Um, and now what I'm going to show you is how I separate my napkin. Each napkin has, either 2-ply napkin or a 3-ply. This particular napkin is a 3-ply. If you take and you just gently rub it together like so, it'll actually, start to separate the layers of the napkin. You don't want to do it too hard because it could actually rip your napkin, but so I just wanted to show you. I've actually already got mine done. I just wanted to show you how I separate the napkins because some people that have never seen this technique before. Okay, that's the first layer, and then the second layer. I'm working on the second layer now, and you just take it and you peel it apart, and you notice that you can still tell that there's a second layer on there because the back is sort of white. Now you see, once I get all the layers off, you can actually see the image really well through the paper, and that's what you want to see. Is you want to see that image. Like I just wanted to show you that that's how you separate it. But I've already separated it, and I've already cut it down to what I'm going to use. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take your cardstock. You want to fold your cardstock in half, and it's going to be at 4 1/4. So your actual card will be 4 1/4 by 5.5. Okay, this is the base for your card. And again, this is off white. I know the video is a little, I guess it's because of the color temperature of the light that I'm using. It's a little off. And this is the actual white cardstock that you want to put your napkin on. You want to use white because as you can see, when you put the white up against the napkin, like the napkin is really thin, you can see the cardstock through the napkin. So that's why you want to use white. If you use some other color, it would actually change the color of the napkin itself. And this is what I use, and I'm sorry it's off camera. Like I said, it's a brand called Scotch Super 77, and this stuff is super sticky. You do not want to spray this on your around your work surface. The way that I spray it is I put whatever I'm going to spray down into my garbage can and just lay it down in there, and then I take the spray and I spray it actually down in the garbage can, because if you spray it around your work surface, you're going to get this sticky stuff everywhere. It sprays just like as if you were spraying spray paint, and it has an overspray. Excuse me, I had to take a drink. I've been at this, doing this all night. This is my third try at trying to do this. I got halfway through the video and realized that it was not recording. I had already made half the card, so I had to start all over again. As you can see, this stuff is, oh my gosh, it's really tacky. Okay, you want to lay your napkin face down, and you want to figure out where the napkin is just a little bit bigger than the cardstock as far as width. So you want to make sure you want to know exactly where you want to put your cardstock, because I mean once you put this down, there's no removing it. It it instantly bonds. when you put it down. So you put your napkin face down, make sure all the wrinkles are out, and then you would just apply your cardstock, where you want to lay it on the napkin. And you make sure you rub it down really good. Make sure there's no air bubbles or wrinkles or anything in it. And I mean, the minute that you rub it down and you flip it over, and it's perfect. It's instantly adhered. Like there's no waiting time to for it to dry or anything. It's ready to use once you stick it. And that is why I love the Scotch stuff. There's other brands of the spray out there. I know Hobby Lobby has, I know they have 4 or 5 different brands. I have not used any of the other brands. This is the only can that I've ever bought. And like I said, I really love this stuff when it comes to adhering things to paper. It'll glue wood. It'll do fabric, paper, plastic, just about anything. Like I said, it's multi-purpose, so it will do everything. You just want to make sure that you're careful and you trim your card up. I just want to check and make sure I have the right size. I don't want to cut too much. You can always cut a little extra, but if you cut too much, you just you kind of ruined your image and you have to start over again. Now it's going to be a little wider than the actual card, but once I get the top and the bottom trimmed and get it all trimmed down, then I can actually place it on the card and figure out where I want to cut it. And I'm just so hooked on making these cards. I love napkin cards. I don't know what it is. I guess it's just so easy. It's fast. It's simple. They're really beautiful. You don't have to worry about coloring, trying to stamp an image out and color an image. You've got your image there. All you have to do is adhere it to the cardstock, and voila. You can put any sentiment on most of these. They're Now I was going to cut this with my scissors, and I decided, no, I better not cut it with my scissors, so I'm going to take it over to my paper trimmer and trim it over at my paper trimmer. So that's why I kind of like leave off camera. Okay, now it's all trimmed down, and it's ready to apply to the cardstock. Well, it's already, excuse me, the napkin's already on the cardstock. The cardstock is ready to apply to the background. The background is actually just it's paper that I think I'm a paper hoarder because I buy all this pretty paper and then I'm afraid to use it. I don't want to use it. And so what I've come up with a solution so that I can still use these pretty images. I take my paper that I buy and if it's 8.5 by 11, I scan it in my scanner and then I turn around and I print it out. And that's how I use my paper. So I print my paper out. So anyway, that's what I actually done. There was only 2 sheets of this particular paper in the booklet that I bought, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to make like a whole set. So I decided hey, I'll just scan it and print it out, and that's what I did. So that way I can make a whole set with the same background image. I just want to apply the cardstock to the card. Now I accidentally made a boo boo here because I forgot I meant to apply the cardstock down and then I forgot. So I'm sitting here and I'm fiddling with this ribbon, deciding where I want to put it, and then in a few seconds you'll see me take the glue, and I started trying to put the glue. What I've noticed is if I don't glue my ribbon down to the front of my card, sometimes I have a tendency to over tighten the ribbon, and it causes my card to bow. So what I did was I started putting a little bit of, a little tiny small line of glue down and actually gluing the ribbon to the front of the cardstock. It also keeps when you put the little knots in it, if you don't do a regular bow, and you just tie a little knot around the ribbon, it keeps it from sliding up and down. But anyway, yep, I'm going and I'm starting to glue, and I'm gonna put me a little glue line, and then I realized, my card just slipped. Oh, I forgot to I forgot to stick the cardstock to the background image, so I have to stop what I'm doing. Okay, I gotta wipe this glue off because when I go to turn it over, I don't want to stick to anything else. Okay, so now I'm gonna use my ATG gun, and I'm going to put a little bit of tape along the top and the bottom. I'm gonna also use a little bit of glue. I normally just use my tape, but I'm down to my last roll of my ATG tape, and I haven't ordered any more yet. And I just cannot see myself going to a craft store and paying $10 for 2 rolls when I can go online and I can order 12 rolls for about 26 bucks. So yeah, I think I'll just for now I'm just gonna continue to use my glue. I've done another card after this, and I found a simpler way to do this. I was using the ribbon as a guideline to make sure that I put my glue on straight. But some of the cards actually have like an up and down writing line, so I just kind of, went along the edge of the writing and put my glue on the edge of the writing. So this one, like I said, I did try to use the ribbon as to, as to line it up. And then you just glue the ribbon down. Smooth it out, make sure there's no excess glue coming out the edges. You want to flip it over, and then you take the ATG gun, and I put a little bit of the tape on each edge, and then I fold the ribbon over. The double-sided transfer tape works really well on fabric too, so it does really well with the ribbons. Now I apologize again, I'm out of focus, out of center, because when I turned my camera on, it didn't realize when I hit the record button. I must have bumped my zoom and actually zoomed in just a little bit too far. So I know a lot of the stuff is kind of off the camera just a little bit out of the viewing area. This is only like maybe my second or third video, so I'm practicing. I'm trying to get a little better at videoing. I just want to trim the ribbon. Okay, and there you have it. And the front of the card is basically, I mean, it's done.